Now, this is quite interesting because most of the strategies in this course are pragmatic. They're things that you can do immediately. They're tools that I implemented into my own university journey that enabled me to completely transform my grades, going from one extreme to the other. But this lesson is a bit different. I'm going to take you back to around 400 BC, so around 2,400 years ago, to the time of Plato. So Plato was an ancient Greek philosopher and is considered to be the founder of Western political philosophy. So he asked an interesting question. He asked, how is it possible if one judges action A to be the best course of action, one would do anything other than A? However, Socrates, who was also a Greek philosopher and alive around the same time as Plato, pushed back and he said, no one goes willingly towards the bad. If a person examines a situation and decides to act in the way he determines to be best, he will pursue this action, as the best course is also the good course. And I'm curious what you think. Are you on Plato's side, where you believe sometimes we go ahead and do things even though we know that it will be damaging to us? Or are you on Socrates' side, where you believe no one does anything bad if they genuinely believe that it's bad? So simply put, akrasia is a state of mind in which someone acts against their better judgment through weakness of will. And this is really what I want to focus on in this lesson. When you know that you should be studying, but get this huge urge to do something else, whether it's going out with friends or basically doing anything other than what you should be doing, studying, right? What do you do? How do you snap yourself out of that state of early procrastination? There's one tool that I used quite often at university. When you catch yourself just about to procrastinate, you're not procrastinating yet, but you're kind of on this cliff edge and you're weighing up your options in your head whether you should study or not. This is when I used the 5-second rule, and it's a super simple tool. Mel Robbins talks about it quite a lot. She's a motivational speaker and keynote. In fact, I take that back. She doesn't just talk about it in depth. She's written a whole book on it called The 5-Second Rule: Transform Your Life, Work and Confidence with Everyday Courage. And I use this tool so often at university because it really does work. So it's based on the premise that if you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds or your brain will kill it. So the moment I felt hesitant to study, the very moment I felt hesitant to study, whenever the idea of procrastination popped into my head, even for a second, then I would go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and move towards studying. And it works because there's a window that exists between the moment you have an instinct to study and then your mind killing it. It's a 5-second window, and if you don't take action in this 5-second window, then you'll stay stagnant. But if during this 5-second window you count to 5 and then just go and study, you can start the momentum before the barrage of thoughts and excuses hit you at full force. Because procrastination is a lot harder to fix once you've already in that state of procrastination. The idea here is to deal with procrastination before it even starts. It's how I pushed myself to study when I really didn't want to, and it just takes 5 seconds. And the 5-second rule is particularly helpful for when you don't want to wake up in the morning. Your alarm clock goes off and you've woken up, but you're so tempted to just continue sleeping. And before your mind can even process what's happening, before your mind can think up a list of excuses and reasons why you should continue sleeping, you just count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And you get up. Another way to stop procrastination, simply having a task list. I downloaded a task list on my phone in my first year at university, and in terms of organizing my life and prioritizing the tasks that I really needed to get done that day, it's been absolutely invaluable. It's weird because for me there's something slightly unsettling about having a long task list. I really don't like having loads of things on my task list, so that's motivation in itself to make sure that my list is relatively small or even empty. So when it does start getting a bit too long, maybe it's an OCD thing, I don't know, but when my task list starts getting a bit too long, then it's massive motivation for me to start working on those tasks and start ticking them off one by one. Something else you can do is use a productivity timer on your phone. I didn't actually use this method at university much, but funnily enough, I use it more now when I'm working than back then at university. The app that I keep going back to, because I've tried a lot of these, but I prefer the Focus To Do app, because you set the timer to however long you want a study session to be, and then you just start studying. I normally set it to about 25 minutes or 30 minutes, but sometimes if I have quite a lot of writing to do, I'll set it to 1 hour and just write and write and write until the timer goes off. And there are even some more advanced features where if you find yourself getting distracted on your phone, then you can set that app to actually lock your phone so that it's a lot harder to get distracted. And obviously, when your study session finishes and the timer goes off, then it will lock your phone. A super simple and basic app, but really effective in fighting off procrastination. Giving yourself little rewards can go a long way too. Now, admittedly, I didn't really do this at university, but I have friends where rewards really helped keep them focused and on track. They use reward systems to encourage them to study. So for example, if they finish an essay without any distractions, they give themselves a small reward like spending the rest of the evening watching a TV show or taking a nap. A strategy I also use quite a lot these days, and I used it often at university too, was to tackle the hardest tasks at my peak times. So I'm usually at my most alert and most productive in the morning as soon as I wake up, or like 1 hour after waking up. So I do the tasks that I really don't want to do, or the tasks that are the most difficult, or the tasks that will take the longest time to do. I often work until like 10, 11 p.m. at night. So at night time, I'll do more relaxing tasks like replying to social media comments, replying to YouTube comments, replying to emails, that kind of thing. And another thing that is something that I actually just really implemented into my life sometime earlier this year is to aim for done over perfect. This is super important when writing assignments. It can be really intimidating when you're about to start writing a 10,000 word essay because you know it's going to take a long time. But imagining the perfect essay or assignment or project could be exactly what's holding you back and pushing you into procrastination mode. But what's super effective for me is that I still do with pretty much all my writing is I just start, I write whatever's in my head, I just get it down on paper. Let's say I have to write a 10,000 word essay, I'd spend a few hours planning it, then I'd just write and write and write until I hit about 8,000 words. Now that right there is my draft. I'd then add to it, I'd change things around, I'd add more scientific studies, making the wording more formal, that kind of thing. So I'd write the first draft, then I'd review it again, change it, add to it, then review it a third time and change to it and add to it. So as you can see, I don't aim for perfection straight away, but instead I just write what's in my head, get it down on paper, then just keep reviewing it and perfecting it from there on. And while you're studying, I mean, this really is obvious. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but make sure that your study environment has very few distractions, or as fewer distractions as possible. So if you're studying in your bedroom and you have your bed facing you, try moving your desk so that you're pointing away from your bed, so you're not tempted to take another nap. One really simple thing I do is when I'm studying, I'll put my phone behind my laptop screen so I can't see it. Out of sight, out of mind, right? And my study environment is absolutely spotless. Maybe I'm a bit OCD, I don't know, but messy workplaces can really stop me from getting any work done. And as you can see from my office behind me, I keep my working environment pretty clean. A clean workspace can help increase motivation and help prevent procrastination. Another way to stop procrastinating is to really remember why you're studying in the first place. Why are you really doing it? I don't mean shallow things like you want an A grade or a 4.0 GPA or whatever. I want you to go deeper than that. Maybe your parents have been supporting you financially for the last few years and you want to kind of give them something back by getting good grades, by getting a good job and becoming financially stable. Or maybe like me, you had been failing your exams for years and years and you have a deep desire to prove to yourself that you are capable of doing something with your life. Because that was my motivation. Honestly, I felt like a failure. I was rejected from so many universities and then finally one accepted me, and that rejection was painful. Honestly, I felt like a loser. So that's what I used to help motivate me whenever I felt like procrastinating, and that's incredibly powerful. If you can find a deep pain you've had in your life, something that was excruciatingly painful, maybe you were bullied when you were younger, maybe you were rejected from your dream university, whatever it is, if you can turn that around and use it as fuel for your motivation, I really can't emphasize enough how powerful that can be long term. It was 2013 when I finally turned my life around, and what motivated me more than anything was failing exam after exam and then being rejected from all the universities that I applied for. And honestly, I thought that that motivation would eventually burn out, but to this day, I'm still just as motivated as I was back in 2013. So when I talk about taking the painful events in your life and really using them to motivate you, when I say that that's where you can find long-term motivation, I really do mean that. So being able to fend off procrastination is a massive part of being able to study smart. Someone who studies for 8 hours but is unfocused and is getting distracted throughout those 8 hours is just not going to study as effectively as someone who stays studying for 4 hours completely focused. So when you are ready to study, then make it count. Make every minute count and stay focused on the task at hand, because as soon as you start getting distracted, you're wasting your time and you're not studying smart. If you have any questions, or you need me to explain anything further, or you need any elaboration on anything, drop a comment below and I'll get back to you shortly.